Hey, Jess, what
Hey, the
time is
time
it?
has come for Mule and Donkey Talk. Jess is ready. Steve, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm all 4th of July up, ready to go here.
That's right. He's dolled up in America's Best, and we're going to have a good time. We are very excited to get to spend a little bit of time with you during this 4th of July Independence Day week. My name's Dave. This is Steve. Every week we get together to talk about mules and donkeys, help you get out there, gain the trust of your animals, get results when you train. This is an escape. This is something that for many of you, you've dreamed about for years. Some of you have spent time with horses and you're converting over to the mule and the donkey. They've caught more and more and more popularity as time goes on. And the second that you interact with them, you see exactly why. They're incredible animals and they just make life a lot of fun. At least they're supposed to. And there's some times where, it's a little bit frustrating. And that's why we do this program, is because we want to transform the time and the experience that you have with your animal from frustration to, let's just say, flourishing. We'll get 2 F's there. Another one of our favorite F words is free. It's a free program that we do, and there's all sorts of free videos on our YouTube page, free articles on our website, free videos on our website, muleranch.com. So we sure are glad that you're here. There's really only 3 things that we ask of you today. Number 1, we want to know that you're here. So please share your name, where you're watching from, and you can share what the weather's like, but let's change it up a little bit. Share your name, where you're watching from, and what you love most about celebrating 4th of July. It could be food, it could be fireworks, it could be family, it could be something else that starts with F. Our favorite F word is free. So come up with what it is you love most about celebrating the 4th of July. And if you want to throw in what the weather's like too, you can do that. So your name, where you're watching from, and what your favorite part of celebrating Independence Day is. That's the first thing we ask. The second thing is that you share any and every mule or donkey question that you've got. The great part about it is that what you ask today is going to be watched by someone in the future. They're going to have the same problem. They're going to have very similar situation or context, and they're going to hear that you asked the question and now they get the answer too. So any and every mule or donkey question that you got, put that in the comment section and we will get to it. You guys do a great job of making this program awesome. Steve and I just show up and y'all tell us exactly what we need to talk about. So that's the second thing. Third thing that we ask is that you share the broadcast with friends and family. You do that simply by using the tools that are built into YouTube and Facebook. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all that stuff. Steve, it's been 7 days since we've hung out. What is going on out there on the ranch?
Well, I'm digging right now 350-foot of line to put in a electric line in and have that all done. But Susan's packing up and we're packing up and we're going to the mountains for a while because guess what? We're going to celebrate 56 years coming up. So we're heading out.
That's awesome. 56 years. I'm on your tail. Sandra and I, on Sunday, we celebrated 18. So we're not at 56 yet, but we are working hard to catch up with you. And by God's grace, we will get there one day, Steve. That's awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun. Are you all taking the camper? Did you say that?
No, we actually have that toy hauler up at Roosevelt Lake. So we're going to go up there and take the fishing boat and see what happens. See if we can't catch a couple fish and to kind of enjoy life up there.
That's great. That's awesome. So let's see here. Let's see who's hanging out with us. Cowboy Ken is hanging out with us. Happy 4th, 81, clear in Connecticut. Merlin is watching live. Good to have you here live, Mr. Merlin. Northwest Minnesota, clear and warm today, about 75 degrees. Lots of rain this last week. Areas near here are flooded. Man, I'll tell you what, you don't want anywhere to be flooded, but I hear about all that rain and I'm like, man, I would love to get some of that rain out here in Arizona. We always need it. Let's see here. Sherman Johnson, Norman, Oklahoma, where it is 104, says, Steve, What do you think about putting bleach in the water to keep the mosquito larva down and keep the water clear?
Absolutely. It's a great idea. It's a great idea. I actually put a little bleach in my in my waters all the time for a lot of reasons. One, to kind of keep the bacteria down, but definitely for the mosquito larva, that's a great idea.
Awesome. Very good. Great question. And that's one we've never had before. So thank you very much, Sherman, for asking that. Cowboy Ken says, Happy anniversary. Kimberly says, Happy Independence Day week. 84 degrees and sunny. Not too hot. Humid today in the Northeast Maryland. Head of, let's see. Oh, head of the bay. Tamar's here. Hello from Mount Marshall, Queensland, Australia. Overcast
Yeah.
and rainy here. Of course, that means we've gone international. Our friend Dave O'Brien watching from East Texas, where it's 98 degrees and very dry. The next question we got, this one comes from Donna. Donna Joe says, Mr. Edwards, I have an older mule that was previously used by Spanish horse riders. Is she too programmed in those ways to learn new things? I just had her vetted and her teeth done. Apparently, she had hooks on the left side that were chewing a hole into her left inside cheek. The vet aged her 20, give or take. We are doing blood panels to provide appropriate nutrition. So, Steve, can she be broken of these previous Spanish horse rider techniques?
Oh yeah, that's not a problem. You know, I don't care how rough you can be on these guys. Their disposition's the main thing, but you bet. Just start in. Always, folks, just forget about the past. Just tell yourself the past is there. Forget it. Start all over again with ground foundation and work your way up. Okay. Yes, you're going to have some holes in the training from the other trainers, from the Spanish trainers, and they're not all bad. A lot of those guys are really, really, really good, and so it just depends on, just like anything else. I've seen Americans be really tough on mules and stuff. I've seen some pictures just this past week of undernourished mules where they just don't feed them, so they will start wanting to respond to them. And anyway, it's a long story, but yeah, no, not a problem. Just start groundwork, go from groundwork to surf single work and bidding and rope halter, this sort of thing, and work your way right on up to the saddle. Got about 6 months ahead of you.
Awesome. Thank you for the question, Donna Joe. Appreciate it. Polly's watching from Barnesville, Minnesota, on my way to Braddock, North Dakota for a 2-day wagon train with my team of mules. 74 and sunny here. That'll be a lot of fun. Steve,
Yeah.
you ever done a 2-day wagon train with a team of mules?
Oh yeah. 2 days and longer. We went to the Grand Canyon. Started at Flagstaff, actually just below Flagstaff, and took an old stagecoach route to the Grand Canyon. Now, here's what happened. Now, we had a lot of wagons, a lot of riders, a lot of passengers, and this sort of thing. But the reason we were going, because the government said we couldn't. And what they said was we could not ride our own mules down the bottom of the Grand Canyon. We said, wait a minute. The Grand Canyon is mine. It is the United States. It's everybody else's. Our property. You are the caretakers. We hire you to take care. What is wrong with me riding my mule down that canyon? Oh, well, you guys come over here. We'll have the police. We'll throw you in jail. Oh, they were just really bitter about it. And we said, well, guess what? We're coming, So here's all these wagons. I think there was close to 40 wagons, stagecoaches, carriages, wagons of all kinds, rubber tire wagons, teams, long spans of teams, riders, people sitting in the wagons. I mean, we had a big entourage. We'd stop at night and we'd set up our camps, and we'll all eat together and stuff. It was a good deal. And when we got to Tucson, okay, that's where they said that we'll start throwing us in jail. That we'd be trespassing. And guess what? It was funny. They were all dressed really good, Smokey the Bear stuff, the whole bit. Really up and proper. Come on in. Yep, you guys come right on in. Bring your wagons right on in. Some of our guys went off the side in the saddle and rode. We couldn't take the mules and the wagons down there, of course, but we got to ride right alongside the Grand Canyon with our wagons and stuff, and that was quite a trip. But they were going to tell us no. Now, because of that, I haven't talked about this story for a long time. I'm glad you guys brought that up. But because of that, now you can go to the Grand Canyon. We have a horse campground made up for equine. So if you want your equine, your horse, your mule, your donkey, whatever you want to ride down, there is a camp space for you there at the Grand Canyon. And then you can go down the BA trail, the Bright Angel Trail, and you can go all the way to the bottom of the canyon, to the Phantom, and then you can come back out. Now, you better make sure your mule is legged up and in condition, and you better make sure you're in pretty decent condition, because you talk about tough on you. We prepared those mules for a long time when we were going in the canyon, packed mules and this sort of thing, getting them ready, legged up. And even then, we still had some problems. But anyway, there's my story. That's just one of many wagon rides I've done. I had a 1901 John Deere chuck wagon, and I would pull in the parades. I'd have my chuck wagon, and then I'd have my bed wagon, and then I'd have my water wagon. So we had all three wagons hooked up to 6 mules, and we did that in parades with the Cowboy Christian Ministries that the Lord blessed me with. And then we'd have all kinds of riders and another wagon. So it was a big part of that parade every year. So there's my story about wagon riding.
And Steve's sticking to it. And we're glad that you brought it up there. That's a lot of fun. Really excited for you, Paulie. And send pictures. Let us know how it goes. That'd be a lot of fun. Matter of fact, talking about stories, Steve's got a story to tell all about white marks. This white mark tale is one that we sure hope you don't ever have to live out. And as a matter of fact, Steve is so committed to it that our next live webinar is going to be July 24th, 5 p.m. Pacific time. So that's 5 p.m. Arizona Pacific time. And we are going to be talking all about white marks. We're going to tell you how to make adjustments so that if you have white marks, you don't perpetuate them. And then how to actually use those adjustments to prevent white marks on mules that you may not have saddled up yet. Steve, why don't you just tell us a real quick snapshot of what we're going to be talking about here. And I'm going to put a link in the comment section so folks can sign up right now.
Yeah, and it's free. Again, free. Here's what we got, folks. Here's what we got. It is funny to me to have a saddle fitter have all these different trees on these mules, what they think are different trees, and find the one that's going to fit the best, and then tell you that this tree is going to be the best, okay, for your mule. Here's the problem with that, okay? That one tree, how many miles has it really been? Or did you just set it on the back one time, which is what they do, okay? And say, yep, this fits good, and they do different measurements and all this stuff. Well, listen, these mules can drop 100 pounds just in one weekend ride. What did we used to do? We used to add another pad. Well, we did that to make up for the weight loss, but here's the problem. Now the mule paid the price. How did he pay the price? Because we had to over-tighten the cinches to keep the saddle from sliding. Yep, okay. Now, wait a minute, Steve. You say you've got one saddle tree that fits them all. Yeah, but I've got almost 50 years of seeing these trees work, not just taking your sandwich up the road, but seeing them work and know what's going on. Now, hey, Dave, you got a picture of Barney we can throw up real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, keep talking. I'll bring it up.
Right. So anyway, white spots, folks. These saddle fitters would tell the people it's because the saddle fits too tight, and that's what occurred on the white marks. Well, in this up and coming webinar, I'm going to show you and tell you, you will visually see it, exactly why there's white marks. You're going to visually see it is not just the tree. Get that in your mind. Now here's Barney. Okay. Barney just come back from a 3,000-mile trip in my gear. Now, have you got the one with the pack mules and this sort of thing as well?
Let me see about pulling that up. I grabbed the first one. Let me pull up.
That's okay. No, this is enough. This is enough. It's okay. This is good. But this guy, Barney, rides all the time. And he rode across the United States from, I think, Georgia all the way to Idaho using my gear, my pads, and that sort of thing. Even my pack saddle. And so anyway, that right there shows you, and he's got no marks on his mules. None whatsoever. Okay. Because of a lot of different things that I'm going to teach you in the up and coming webinar. You're going to see some things and you know why there are. Okay. And you're going to see a couple of videos, all kinds of things. But I want to educate you folks. Okay. Because here's the problem. You got the same horse mentality. Everybody's saying and doing the same thing. It's funny when people say to me, I've never heard of tightening the rear cinch before. I've never heard of using the rear cinch. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I'm going to help you all with that. Even if you ride a horse, I'm going to help you because the article that we're going to put together is going to go after the horsemen, the equine owners, and this sort of thing to say, hey, white spots is not completely from the saddle. And I'm going to help you all out with that. Thanks for the reminder there, Dave.
Absolutely. So, folks, I just put a link in the comment section. Y'all can go get signed up. It's absolutely free. It's going to be a lot of fun. You may be asking, what's the difference? Like, why don't we just talk about it here? And why are we doing something special? Well, that's a great question. Here, the conversation is guided and directed by you. So we may talk about white marks one week, and then right after we talk about white marks, we have a question about feed. And then we have a question about saddles. And then we have a question about desensitizing. And then we have a question. Well, when we get together for a special webinar, this is Steve talking about something specific, either things that he really wants you to know about, or he's wound up having 5 or 6 conversations about the same thing in a row, and he's been thinking about it. He's got some fresh examples that he's helped people with, and he wants to put it together. So it's really an opportunity for Steve to have focused instruction as opposed to what this is, which this is great too, where we jump from topic to topic. So the event's free. Go ahead. You do have to get signed up. If you don't sign up, you're going to miss it, and you don't want to miss it because they are a lot of fun. And we have a lot of friends who may join us from week to week, but they all show up same place, same time. It's like Christmas and Easter at the church. Everybody who goes to that church shows up at the same place, the same time, and the numbers just explode, and it's so fun to be together. That's what it's like for a Steve Edwards webinar. Hey, Steve, next question we got comes in from Debbie. Says, I have a mule who has recently been diagnosed with arthritis in her stifles and beginnings of kissing spine. Is there a place that will let her be a pasture mule? What's your advice? Now, Steve, I know what arthritis is. I don't know what stifles are, and I don't know what beginnings of kissing spine is. Can you define those for me and then offer what advice you have to Debbie?
Sure, you bet. And it's tough too, just like anything else. Our joints and everything wears down and breaks down. So on the back leg, you have the hip comes down, and then the front part of the hip comes up and goes into the belly. And there's a big muscle area, and there's a big bone in there and this sort of thing. And what happens is, say the mule slides in mud or slips on ice, then it stretches that stifle. And when he goes to walk, he actually kind of bounces and then it drops back down. And so, so that's unfortunately is not safe for you to ride that animal. And the reason I say that is this: you're riding along, and all of a sudden that animal gets a stifle problems and falls down and falls on top of you. Well, is it worth that broken leg that you just got from that, or somebody else being with you and get hurt with it? So yeah, a pasture animal, unfortunately, that's what it's going to be. Now the kisses deal, is that the one with the urine and the manure from the kind of animal is that? Not a skunk, but not a badger. I can't think.
Raccoon?
No, not a raccoon.
Possum.
There
we go. It's an email, so I don't have the ability to ask her right now, but what would you say there?
Well, if it is, then there's not much you can do with it. That's kind of a poison situation that goes throughout the animal. And the poor animal, unfortunately, is going to be in a lot of pain. You have to see what the vet says about it. And the other thing too is you get into a lot of ice and snow, and that animal slips and falls, it could very well break that pelvis. So you're in a tough way. Being a pasture mate is about the best. Pasture animal is about the best thing for that little guy.
Awesome. Thanks for asking the question, Debbie. Appreciate it. If there's any follow-up questions that we can work with you for or offer any more insight, please do let us know. It's no fun, and we wish you all the best. Steve, I was just thinking about this, and I wanted to give folks a heads up because this is one thing that's just kind of refused to go away. About a year ago, Steve, your Facebook account got hacked. Now, not Queen Valley Mule Ranch. Queen Valley Mule Ranch on Facebook, that's our business page. That one is safe and secure. So if y'all follow Queen Valley Mule Ranch online and you get our material there, you're good. But Steve, your individual Facebook got hacked, and we've still wanted to make sure that folks know that if you are Facebook's been no help. So maybe the algorithm's listening right now and they'll transcribe my words and some miracle will happen and they'll say, oh, golly, we feel terrible. We'd love to get you help. I doubt it. But we won't just give up on them flat out, I guess, though we may want to. Anyways, if you're getting any messages, friends, from Steve Edwards, they're not coming from Steve Edwards. They're coming from whoever decided to hack them. Now, we do send messages out on Facebook from Queen Valley Mule Ranch. So if you receive things from Queen Valley Mule Ranch, that's going to be me. That's going to be us. I would tell you this on top. If you do get messages from Steve Edwards, they're going to be weird messages because these people don't know him and these people don't know you. And so they're going to feel like weird messages, and just ignore them. And we're going to do our best to manage that. But if you know anyone in the Facebook world, like works for Meta, and they might be able to help us regain control because they've been zero help at all, please reach out. Let me know, support@muleranch.com. And that would be very helpful. I've got lots of friends in the tech space. The one person I knew who worked at Meta quit about 2.5 years ago. But that one person was able to actually help multiple of my friends. And so she's not there anymore, and she doesn't really know the people. There's been a lot of turnover. But nonetheless, so just to give you all a heads up, want to make sure you all are aware of that. Did I say it right, Steve?
Yeah, that's great. And then the other thing is, too, when you do go over there to my site, put a note in there saying, hey, this isn't actually Steve Edwards' site. If you all would do that, that'd be great, because more people that goes over to Steve Edwards. And remember, there's multiple Steve Edwardses, but when you put Steve Edwards' Mule and go over there and write in there, hey, folks, just to let you all know, this is not Steve Edwards' site anymore, and it's been hacked, been stolen. I sure would appreciate it. We're sending out different things to do it, and we tried all kinds of ways, and we probably should have stayed right with it. I really feel bad for the people that have been built by this character, who it is that that stole my my Facebook account, you know. So I'd appreciate if you all would go in there, write some stuff. Hey, folks, this is not Steve Edwards' account. If you would do that for me, maybe we'll get some attention.
Yeah, just a reminder, Queen Valley Mule Ranch, that's A-OK. Steve Edwards, literally the words Steve Edwards, that's the ones that we've had a problem with. And if anything ever changes, you will hear it from us. We will send out an email, but right now, ignore those posts. Steve, next question comes in from Rami, says, Rami here from Maryland. I've been riding my mule with the martingale that I bought from you. She responds well to the bit. She turns on her haunches, backs up, and I've been taking her on trail rides with it. I thought she would be ready to switch to the trail rider's bit. I bought your bridle and your bit and tried it a few times, but she does not like it. I understand the packing of the bit, and she does that. But if I use the reins on her at all, she opens up her mouth and does not like the bit. My question to you is this. Can I buy the bit that is on the martingale and put it on the regular mule bridle without the martingale system, or what do you suggest? Can I continue riding just with the martingale bridle? Thank you for your love and care for the mules and educating us all about the right kind of training and gear. I love what you do. Thank you. Steve, what would you say to Rami?
Okay, so folks, as you all know, I'm more interested in the mule being comfortable than anything else. That's really, really important. So I'm sure that she's gone through the process using that martingale. The martingale sets the mule's mind by doing this. Gets the head to be lowered, the nose on a vertical, and the mule thinking about the bridle. Okay, now, if you watch the video with this, you'll see nobody's on the animal's back. And she's going around. At first, the head is high, and she's a real mess. Then again, nobody's on her back. She's in a surcingle. And as she's going around, now she starts getting quiet. Now she starts lowering her head, and her nose is on a vertical. Remember, nobody is on the mule's back. So if it's working that way with nobody on the mule's back, and then we put somebody in the bridle, then what happens? It is somebody's hands and the way they're moving creating a problem. Now, that's with the martingale. Now, we do the same thing with the finished bit and the finished bridle. We put it on the mule, we put the surcingle up, and we turn the mule loose. Now the mule is going to be learning how to move and how to pack the bit. The majority of the time, folks, when a mule is gapping his mouth and not going forward with the bridle, it's because of the way we are moving our hands. Now, as with the martingale, when we are moving with the martingale, here's my hands, okay? Here's my hands. I want to go right. I turn my wrist on the right side, and my hands go to the right. I want to go to the left. Again, my hand turns, and I go to the left. My hands are going to be as wide as the pommel. So that's how we do the martingale. Then when we first start doing the trail rider bit, we do the same thing. Two-handed at first and going to one-handed second. Okay? So you'll change back and forth. If the mule is gapping his mouth, you may want to think about using a little bit less of your hands and using more fluid motion to go. Okay? But first, just like you did with the martingale, just like it shows on the video, put your bridle on, put your bit on, tie the reins loosely to the surcingle, and let the mule on his own move around and see what kind of difference that you see. Okay? Give that a try and let me know how you do. Now remember, folks, let's go back to this again. We don't just go from the martingale into the finished bit and start riding finished bit. No, we go to the martingale, a few minutes with the finished bit, back to martingale. A few more minutes with the finished bit, back to martingale. an hour with the finished bit back to martingale. 5 hours. You got the idea? The big problem is we tend to think we can go, since the mule's doing so well in a martingale, that we can put him in a finished bit. But not everybody knows what that so well looks like. So remember, everything in 3, 6, 9, 12. So at first you're going to take the mule out and you're going to put the martingale on, and you're going to do all your work. Then you're going to put the bridle on. This is from the saddle now. This isn't from the surcingle. And you're going to do 3 things. Go to the right, go to the left, small steps, not just go to the right 100 yards. Go to the right 10, 15 steps. Go to the left 10, 15 steps. Do it 3 times right and left, backing up, stopping as well, all in small increments. And again, listen to me. Do it a little at a time. Martingale, finish bit. Martingale, finish bit. Never, ever just put a bit in a mule's mouth and say, okay, let's go. Even if it's a Steve Edwards bit, do your ground foundation work first. Use that surcingle. Every mule owner here should own a surcingle. That surcingle, it is the most wonderful tool to build a foundation and to fix problems and to keep one tuned in their mind. So there you go. Let me know how I can help. You can always call me. You can send me pictures to my 602-999-6853 number. Let me help you out.
Awesome. Thanks for the question. Let's see here. Mari says it's wonderful in hot Missouri again today. Happy anniversary, she says. Thank you very much, Mari, on behalf of Steve and Susan. I know they appreciate that. Hey, our friend Bill Rose is sharing the Mules of Ohio and Mules of Indiana. About 85 degrees overcast with little breezy. Rory Wickham and me hope to see you in Tennessee this year. Yeah, Tennessee. Folks, if you want to meet Steve Edwards, if you want to spend a little bit of time at a Steve Edwards clinic, there is one on the agenda for 2024, and that is in Shelbyville, Tennessee. Steve will be attending the American Mule and Bluegrass Festival, Shelbyville, Tennessee. I believe this is the 3rd year in a row. I think this is the 3rd annual one they've done, but this is the 3rd one Steve has attended. And this year, it's an incredible opportunity to support some strong Christian ministries just doing great work. Steve, why don't you tell us what you're excited about for Shelbyville real quick?
Well, the going in there and helping the people with the mules and this sort of thing is a wonderful thing. And of course, hearing that bluegrass music. But, here it is with me, folks. I love helping these mules through and this sort of thing. But I also love serving the Lord. And when we can get in there and help these community churches and this sort of thing, helping people within that church's realm, that's something I really would like to do. And there are several ministries that Marty Ray has that knows about and has been involved in that needs some funding. And the idea there is to help them out with these ministries. So if you can come and want to be part of the programs and stuff as things pop up, you can get yourself registered. You can send me an email. Hey, Steve, I want to be part of it. It's all, listen to this, it's all donations. So you want to donate to this ministry, the different ones, you make a donation, you can come to my clinic. Now, I'm also going to be doing Cowboy Church there as well. And the theme of Cowboy Church is the devil made me do it. Yep, the devil made me do it. So anyway, there you are. And we're going to be helping some mules. There's going to be lots of other vendors there. I'm going to be demonstrating all day long, folks. I'm going to be doing all kinds of different things. So bring your questions. And if you want to bring your mules and be part of the little clinics, we're going to help you out. It's very laid back.
It's a lot of fun. Folks who have gone years in the past, they really enjoy it. And if you're in that area or if you're looking to fill up your calendar with some fun memories, the event is awesome. It's for all ages. There's something there literally for everybody. And they just do a good job. And it seems like they just are getting better and better and better as the years go by. So that's coming up in Shelbyville. That's what Bill and Rory are talking about, and you can join too. Put a link in the comment section with all the information. Ben is watching. Ask the question, are gray mules as susceptible to melanomas as gray horses are?
Yes, they are. They are, and especially as grays get older, they get whiter. And yes, they have. You want to always be checking around underneath their tail in their anal area and around their eyes and this sort of thing, folks. The biggest fly protector I love is a good fly mask without the ears. Let the hair be a natural way to take care of those, but a good fly mask is worth its weight in gold.
All right. Next comment here comes from Merlin. After working in the equine field for many years, I have an observation to make. We work with three main types in the field: the donkey, the mule, and the jackass. I have found the donkey and the mule to be very smart and highly trainable. However, the jackass cannot be trained because of two major disadvantages. They have no brain and only two legs. Oh, that's a good one. That's a very, very good one.
that is really good.
So, folks,
Yeah.
several years back, I had a string of friends who were looking to make some extra money, some side money, and so I'd bring them out to Steve's ranch with me to do some video footage. And one of these guys was a young guy named John, and so John and I went out there, and he's got the camera on Steve. We're standing out there together. He's got the camera on Steve. And Steve's talking, Steve's training, Steve's telling stories, all of the great things that, Steve does if you're there live. And then, of course, a Steve joke. Roses are red. Well, no, it was oh God, I just ruined the whole thing. It's a Steve joke. It was, you have to tell these mules that life ain't Burger King. He can't have it his way. Well, John just exploded. He got the giggles all over his body. He was calling me and texting me 2-3 weeks after that saying, I forgot about it. And then all of a sudden it just came back into my mind. Life isn't Burger King. He can't have it his way. And so that's another Steve classic. That's one that we like. And then what's the roses are red one, Steve?
Roses are red, violets are blue. Mules that make me look bad will be turned to glue.
There you go. All day. See, there's more of that comedy where it came from. Y'all go to Shelbyville, make a donation, get into the Steve Edwards Clinic, and it's going to be a good time. Thank you for that laugh there, Merlin. We appreciate it. Bob is watching from a humid and getting hotter eastern Nebraska. Dave O'Brien says, Danielle, the American Mule and Bluegrass raffle mule is doing great with her training, except when working on wiggling the rope to back up, I have to go to the demand level before she reacts each time. Any suggestions? So Dave O'Brien won the raffle last year at the American Mule and Bluegrass Festival, got himself an awesome mule, Danielle, and now he's wondering, what do I need to do, Steve? I'm wiggling that rope, but I've got to go to the demand before she reacts.
Well, again, I'm not watching you, Dave, to see, because, folks, it's just about always our hands that creates the problem. You always want to make sure that the loop around the nose is way down 2 fingers above the nostril. That's the biggest thing. What happens is, as we're wiggling the rope tends to come back up the nose. And when it comes back up the nose, we don't get the communication value. So it could be you may have to go to the demanding stage after you've readjusted it. Try it real quick with the ass tail and then demand. But remember, the demand is not holding your rope like this. The demand is holding your rope like this, so that you have to, when you bump, you also turn your wrist at the same time, and that's going to add more to it. So you may be asking, and then you change your rope, telling, and then demanding by turning your wrist and bumping a little bit harder. Always make sure the rope is down 2 fingers above the nostril.
So this is pretty cool. On YouTube, we had just someone share. I have two white mules, no gray undertones, out of POA mares. What's a POA mare?
Ponies of America.
Okay, Ponies of America mares. They are my first equine to train, and thankfully they're coming along very well thanks to using the training techniques from Queen Valley Mule Ranch. It does seem like they have been more difficult than they should be for a mule. They're extremely smart, though, and retain training excellently. Really, it blows my mind. But hopefully, anything else I train after them will be a breeze compared to them. They are difficult, but not impossible. Just need to take it super slow and with understanding. Very grateful for Steve sharing his knowledge. I thought that was pretty cool. Steve, isn't that neat to
Yeah.
hear?
Yeah, here it is, and exactly. And I really appreciate that. But you have to remember, folks, ponies are like Shetlands, and they can be pretty hard headed at times. So they will resist you when they get a chance. They're kind of cute and cuddly, but because they're small, but they're still a pony, you know. And anyway, and taking your time like you're doing, good for you. Congratulations on a pair of white miniature mules. Congratulations.
Very cool. Let's see here. I had a comment come through, and I wanted to get your take on this, Steve. I have a friend who raised horses and mules. He said mules are 10 times smarter than horses ever dream of being. He also said never mistreat your mule as it will remember, and sooner or later it will get even. Do you find that to be true, Steve?
No, that's an old wise tale. I've had folks tell me that over the years, and I was so scared to make any wrong moves. But after you see a mare jump on a mule, and I mean beat them up, tear them up, and throw them on the ground the whole bit, a horse mare just flat tear them up and go to walk away, and that mare will follow her, licking her lips, licking its lips, and ducking its tail because he respected what that mare done to him. That mare was in a demanding state. So going back to it, don't listen to that, folks. Uh, you have to look at that like this. How serious was it? We may have thought it was serious. We may have really jerked on that mule or something like that and thinking, man, that was pretty harsh. But it's nothing like a lead mare would do, biting and kicking. Listen, they ask when they pin their ears. They tell when they pin their ears and switch their tail, and they demand by spinning, kicking, biting. You understand? That is the whole part of an equine.
Awesome. Thanks for clearing that up, Steve. Really appreciate it. Hopping back over to our conversations today. Chris is watching. Says looking for remedies for rain rot. Would love to hear what works better than a spray. What is rain rot? How do you get that? And then what works better than a spray, Steve?
I use that, and I've also used Bonami. Oh, I tell you the other thing too. I have done axle grease actually suck up uh, on that irritation, and I've used that on there as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. Good question there. Let's see here. Glenna is watching. Pretty nice in Michigan today. Another loose livestock call today. I'm getting pretty good at roping calves from the ground, but I'm looking forward to a good mule. I had to dally around a tree. So Jimmy's looking forward to getting a good mule. I think everyone's looking forward to getting a good mule.
Yeah, boy, good for him to use a tree to dally. I can tell you that I have been in the saddle, roped some wild steer, and I've actually dallied around a tree, took my mule around the tree to be able to get that cow under control, setting on my mule. Okay, so what we try to do is try to put them on the tree and suck them up real close to where we can tie their head right to the tree like this, and they literally spend a day or two tied to that tree like this, and then they're a lot easier for us to take out. Remember, these are wild cattle that ain't hardly seen anybody, and when you go down the river bottoms pulling these things out, we use trees a lot to tie them up to that tree with their head right up as close as we can, so it takes the fight out of them. Good for you, Jimmy.
Rob says, Steve, I rode with Mary Lawrence at Falling Waters Horse Camp last and had a blast. A whole bunch of mules riding in the Ozarks these days. They're showing up everywhere. Folks are just everywhere. It seems like, well, one of the things that we've seen, Steve, one of the reasons why we say we don't sell mule saddles, we sell Steve Edwards saddles, is because what we noticed is that with the rising popularity of mules, you had places that didn't know better and some places that did know better just put the word mule in front of their saddle, didn't make any changes, didn't make any adjustments to accommodate that donkey bone structure. But there was just a rise in popularity. And so, hey, let's say this is a mule saddle. So, yeah, riding all over the place. It's pretty cool to see them pop up, isn't it, Steve?
Yep, that's great. It's really great. It's fun to have people. Had a lady call me today, and she said, "Hey, I had a concho uh, pop off of the back of the saddle, and I bought the saddle used from a lady." And I said, "Wow, congratulations on finding a used saddle. That's terrific." But here's the thing: going back to concho, folks, the back of your breeching, where those straps hook into, always, 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 folks, check all of your conchos. Make sure they're screwed down tight. Check your straps on your cinches. Make sure they're in good places, okay? And if you got the leather latigoes, you're looking for a place to have a wreck, because when that latigo breaks, you're in trouble. Nice thing about my nylon, there's not a problem with that, So, hey, anyway, yeah, it's a lot of fun to see these saddles out there.
Tracy's watching from Lowood, Queensland, Australia. Rainy and overcast today, 56.6. Teresa is watching from Sweetwater, Tennessee, 90 and sunny here. Bill says, not EMP caused by possums. Kissing spine can sometimes be corrected with a simple surgery, from what I understand.
Oh, it said kissing spine. Okay.
What did you think I heard? I said kissing time?
Yeah, it sounded like that the possum problem, So I got it. Okay, that's good. My fault, bad hearing.
All right, let's see. Bob is watching. Recently acquired a 14-hand, 18-year-old shortback sweetheart of a mule for my wife. Wondering if an Aussie saddle with a britchin could keep her comfortable until we get one of your saddles, Steve. What would you say there, Steve?
Make sure your wife is heavily insured, because what happens is this, folks: those Aussie saddles roll. Okay, there's only the one cinch, and even if they got the back cinch, it still isn't balanced right, and it still rolls. That's the biggest problem that I've had with the Aussie saddles in the past with folks, is that the saddle is rolling. So you want to be careful. You're with your wife there. I wouldn't trust it myself. You're welcome to try it, of course, and let me know how you do. But I've never seen an Aussie saddle stay in place on a mule. It always wants to roll, and it always does it at a bad time. So, hey, you want to be careful.
Hey, real quick, earlier on in the show that today, we mentioned that about a year ago, Steve's Facebook profile got hacked, and we still have not had any progress getting access to that. Well, Steve Tracy went, found the profile, reported it, and done us good. So if y'all go out there, you find the Steve Edwards account and you report it to Facebook, maybe that will get us a little bit of traction in recovering that profile from Facebook. But I just wanted to say that, and thank you so much, Tracy. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Let's see here. Jody, Larry, and Rocky are watching from beautiful 75 degrees. We went to Shelbyville last year. It was a great way to learn from Steve. Jody, thank you so much for sharing that. And I know that there's going to be plenty of folks who feel the same way after this year. And folks, there's plenty of time to get that on your calendar. It happens this fall towards the end of September. And I put a link in the comments section just a little bit higher up. You can click on that. Herschel is watching live. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Jody and Larry came clear from Washington all the way to Tennessee to watch me train. Clear from Washington, okay? And of course, they're the ones that end up buying my Rocky mule, okay? And so just to give you an idea, folks, they traveled a long ways. And it was nice to see him there. But hopefully I'm going to get me a trip up there and go up and see my old Rocky mule.
That'd be a lot of fun. Let's see here. Hey, David Scholl, good Aussie morning to you. Been very busy here weaning my last 7 mule foals. Yeah, no kidding. 7 mule foals. That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Good for you, Dave.
Awesome. So Dave has an incredible breeding business that he's been building up down in Australia. He searched the globe, literally searched the globe, found Moses, did all of the work, all of the paperwork, everything necessary to bring Moses back to Australia. And he's been breeding Moses. And we have an entire episode of this program where Dave shares about his breeding program down there in Australia. It's a lot of fun. And you know what? We ought to get another one scheduled where Steve could be a part of it, David, because I know that he would enjoy that as well. So we'll be reaching out. That'll be a lot of fun. But good to hear from you, David. I'm glad that you're here. Let's see here. Steve, Chris just commented that he wasn't able to hear your voice on the rain rot question. Can you give him your answer one more time so he can hear it?
Okay, so rain rot is when water sits on their back for a long time and it starts scaling up and hair starts just fluffing off. Okay. Now I have used Bon-Ami on it and scrubbed it up really good and done that. I'm trying to think of the name of the soap. I think it was Joy that I used a lot too as well, and hosed it off really good. And then I actually used axle grease, like you use for putting in your grease zerts and this sort of thing. I actually got some of that and rubbed it in there really good, and that works. And it can get pretty ugly, folks, and you can't really ride them because the poor little guys are pretty sore. So, you might want to be careful of that, but hopefully that helps you out.
Awesome. Very good. Let's see here. Hannah, watching better late than never. Florida, 92 degrees and humid. God bless America. And Jody says, we would love to see you. We would love to see you, they say. Steve, you know what? We've gotten through all of our questions for today. I'm going to take this opportunity real quick to remind folks, I want to remind you watching right now that Steve has a free webinar coming up on July 24th. And you can sign up. It's absolutely free. We're going to be talking all about white marks. If you've got white marks that you are seeing develop on your mule or your donkey, you're going to want to listen up, because we're going to give you insights into what is playing a part in causing those white marks. And if you don't have those white marks, but you've got this posture of, golly, I don't want to do something that accidentally brings white marks, you're going to want to listen up as well, because we're going to give you insights in prevention. And really, prevention has less to do with preventing white marks and just being proactive at proper saddling techniques. Steve, that's everything for today. Do you have anything you want to say before we're all done?
No, other than folks, the Curcingle, I can't say enough about having a Curcingle in your training program. Anybody can teach one to stand in a corral or a pasture. But look, they can stand in a little corral or a round pen or something like that, harnessed up with the Curcingle bit and come along hitch, or not come along rope halter, whatever. They don't need to be standing in the corral all the time. You throw a Curcingle on them and let them train themselves. Okay, that's really good. Here's the last thing, folks. The United States of America is in trouble. We're in big trouble. And especially when you saw the debate the other night, it should even more tell you how much we're in trouble. Okay, it used to be that if somebody told a lie, it was a bad thing. Now, when you tell a lie, it's a good thing. Yeah, I'm telling you the way it is, folks. It's a shame that it's coming down to this. But listen, the Bible is very explicit. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. Okay? And you cry out to him. You cry out to him and step into place between God and the United States of America. Okay? There are plenty of prophets in the Bible that talk about things that are coming up. Okay? But especially you hear those guys praying, saying, Lord, we have sinned. We have made the mistakes. We have allowed this happen. Not just them, not just the president or whoever, okay? But everybody is responsible for what's going on right now. And it's time, Christians and Americans, it's time that we start standing up to this garbage. So there you are.
Absolutely. We've got very big responsibilities. It's a human thing. Very big responsibilities being created in the image of God. And we may not get to determine the deck that we're dealt or the cards that we're dealt, but we take the hands that's been given us and we got to make the most of it. And being able to vote and be proactive in the direction of the country, that's a huge responsibility. And that's something that we're very, very excited always to take part in. So thanks for reminding us, Steve. Folks, God bless America. Continue. We pray that you enjoy a safe and fun 4th of July holiday and Independence Week. If there's anything we can do to help you, just let us know. You can always reach us, Steve, at muleranch.com or support at muleranch.com. You can message Steve too, 602-999-6853, and send a picture of your mule. Always love to see what you're working on. But God bless everyone. Thank you, and we will see you again very soon. Bye-bye.
Happy trails.